What's up, people? I'm back for another video. I'm doing two today. I'm doing the Blind Fury one today, and then later tonight, I will be reviewing Hellraiser Judgment. But Blind Fury, well, this is a movie my friend Steeg is another one he recommended me. Honestly, it is great. With Rutger Hauer, plays a blind man named Nick. He's a Vietnam vet. He gets blinded by a mortar. He ends up getting saved by villagers, and he basically learned to hone his senses. It's almost like a Daredevil movie, kind of, in a way. And it's kind of interesting, because usually Rutger Hauer, for the most part, he's usually the bad guy in most stuff. He's the bad guy in Blade Runner. But I really liked him in this. I thought he played a good character. It was a fun, all-around movie. Very 80s. Came out in 1989. But it's one of those movies where it's about, like, he has to protect his friend's son, Billy, and he's a kid actor. You get what you kind of expect with that, but he was decent. But basically, he has to protect his friend, from this villain name. The villains are I'll admit, they're very kind of, when I mean jokey, they're not to be taken seriously. I mean, the guy Slag, who you see throughout the film, he's kind of treated as a joke, but it's fine. It's just an overall fun little action flick, man. And I'm happy Steve recommended me this because it's fun. Like, it's a quick, short little movie, fun little plot. He has to protect this kid. It's cool seeing him fuck shit up while blind, just how good with everything is. There's a scene where he just, like, accidentally fucks some people up. Like, he didn't even intend to, and he just ends up fucking them up. Just because that's, like, how good he is. I just think how they can make a premise like that work, and I think they did. I think Rucker played it really well. The villains are, like I said, they're kind of a joke. They're necessarily, you can take them seriously, but it's fine. You have some other characters like Frank, who's his friend, who I thought Frank was a decent character, and his girlfriend Annie. But largely, it's relatively mainly Nick protecting this boy Billy. Relatively, that's most of the movie. So we see, but if I were to rate it out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 9. I really enjoyed it, honestly. I will definitely probably watch this more, just like if I need to kind of put something on in the background to pass the time. I'd watch it again. Fun little movie. So, Hellraiser Judgment review tonight. It'll probably be a rant, because from what I saw, it's they recast Pinhead again. I don't know if it's the same guy from the last movie or if it's a different guy. But it's like, what the fuck? If you couldn't get fucking, real quick before I start the review, if you couldn't just get Doug Bradley, just don't do the fucking movie. Why are we still doing it? He's trying to recast him again. I don't know. It could be the same guy from the last movie, but it was just not good. No disrespect to that guy, but Pinhead is Doug Bradley. It just is. When you have a character who, it's not like Michael Myers or Jason, right, where they don't talk and they have a mask over their face. No, Pinhead's not that. Pinhead is Doug Bradley. That's one of the reasons I think the reboot didn't really work. Was, granted, I think I understand you had to get a different person for that, but it just didn't work. But anyway, I'll talk about that more later tonight, but I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest. But Blind Fury's fun. I definitely recommend it. It's a very simple little movie, It's one of those kind of movies. Very simple, not a lot going on. It's not necessarily a story movie in the sense like it's the most amazing story in the world, but it's fun. The action sequences are fun. There's a fight sequence where he fights this Japanese guy over like an electrical hot tub. I thought that fight was great, and the choreography is actually very well done. So I gotta give it to him for it. So anyway, we get started. So we basically get Frank's kind of backstory really quick. It's not long. Like, they just show you that because of a mortar strike, it ended up leaving him blinded, but he managed to get saved by villagers, and he learned to hone his senses. He became a great swordsman even while blind. And he wants to go visit his friend Frank, but his friend Frank is missing. But we need his son Billy and his mom. They get kind of going pretty quick. Where Slag and some corrupt cops try to basically they want to take Nick for ransom. Not Nick, Billy for ransom. So Nick ends up protecting Billy, taking out the cops, but Slag manages to escape. He tries to shoot. I think he was trying to shoot Nick. Yeah, he was trying to shoot Nick, and then he ends up hitting Billy's mom, and it's a pretty sad scene actually. And then Billy's mom basically tells him to go to basically protect Billy before he finds Frank. Pretty well done scene, you know. Actually, well acted by whoever played the mom. I got to give it to her. I thought that was a very well done scene. So while on the bus, this is where Billy and Frank Billy and Nick start connecting, and Nick starts being called Uncle Nick by Billy, cute little nickname. It's I like movies like this. Yeah, I'm not for the most part. I'm not a big fan of kid actors. I just think a lot of them are shit. But I thought Billy did a decent job here, and you could believe their connection. You could believe they had a bit of chemistry. So they end up traveling to that's the other thing about this movie. The movie's pace pretty good too. Like, it gets going. Like, I don't feel like there's a point in the movie where you're just kind of, oh, it's slow. It gets going. Like, they get going pretty quick because then this is where we meet Frank's girlfriend Annie, who lives in Vegas or Reno specifically. And then they get attacked again. Nick manages to, before that, Slag does manage to take Billy originally. Nick manages to get Billy back. Then this is where we get the girlfriend sequence. So then Billy and Nick decide to hide at Annie was a decent character. Like, Annie and Frank was cool. I thought there was a scene where they did a mission together. I thought that was kind of cool, which that's a bit later. So, but Annie decides to let Nick and Billy stay at her friend Colleen's house. But then, Billy and Annie end up getting kidnapped by Slag and his people. Then, we get a cool action sequence between Frank and Nick going into the building with, like, napalm. Little napalm bombs. That was pretty cool. Like, a lot of these movies, the bad guys are very like, we're bad because we're bad. And that's it. They want the whole Billy for ransom, basically, so for money. That's it. No, nothing too complex, but sometimes I'm cool with that. I'm not saying you can't have your complex villains, right? But I'm always fine. There's nothing wrong with just having villains that are simple. You could say one note, but fuck it. Sometimes that's fine. It works for these movies. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Just have a villain. Yeah, he's bad because he wants money, or because this. Are they a little bit like the Slag and his henchmen? They're kind of a bit of a joke. Like, there's not a point in the movie where Slaggy feels like a formidable villain. I'll say that, but it's fine. Like, it feels like an unofficial Daredevil movie. The way Nick hones his senses, and it's very well done. But this is where we get that awesome fight between him and this guy, a Japanese guy with another skilled Japanese guy with a sword. We get a cool sword fight, and the choreography for that. I think the choreography in general is pretty good for the fight scenes, and I think Rucker Howard does a really good job of playing a blind guy. I gotta give him credit. He really made it believable that he was blind. Because there's some actors, who are blind, but they don't make it believable. You know what I mean? But I think he really made it believable, and he even the way he fights, they made it believable. Like, oh, this how it would happen. But yeah, but Frank, I keep saying Frank. Nick manages to kill the guy after the fight by electrocuting him in the hot tub because there's like a wire in there. Then Billy manages to keep saying Billy. Nick kills Nick, Slag, pretty brutal. Like he fucking Slag was about to grab a gun and then Nick just throws the sword right in his chest. And I think the movie's kind of funny too because there's like a bit where I think someone threw something at Nick and he didn't catch it that time. I thought that was kind of funny, but like even movies like this knew how to balance humor right. But yeah, so they managed to kill the bad guys. Basically, bad guys defeated. Then Nick and Billy must separate because Nick decides that Billy should go with his father. But Billy's, and I'll admit the send off is kind of sad. Like you actually can believe that Billy is sad that Nick is gone. And even the scene where he like tears up, is it a little, obviously a bit set up, but I thought it worked here. And then Billy throws like his toy dinosaur. Nick catches it and says some words like "I'll miss you," and yeah, Billy ends up going with his dad while Nick walks off in the sunset with the dinosaur. Even with a tear in his eye, I thought, yeah, that scene was very well done. Overall, very good movie. Definitely will watch again. I'm gonna thank Stieg for recommending me this because this is a really good one. I like Rucker Hauer. He plays a good guy. Yeah, usually for the most part, besides in Split Second, that was the other movie where he's a good guy. For the most part, he usually plays a villain. Like I think he was in that original The Hitcher, and he was a bad guy in that. Obviously Blade Runner. So it's kind of fun to see him actually play a good guy. Oh yeah, he was a bad guy in fucking that Stallone cop movie. He's a bad guy in that. I think in general he plays a great bad guy. So it's interesting to actually see him play a good guy. Well, all right, I really like this movie. Like, yeah, it's not the most complex movie in the world, but I think it's really good. Just a fun time. It's really all I can say. Not a lot, like the most complex story in the world, but it doesn't need to be. So I just kind of wanted to do this video really quick before later tonight I do my video on Hellraiser Judgment, which more than likely will be a rant. I mean, I could be wrong, but I have a feeling it will be a rant, but we'll see. But 9 out of 10 for this movie. And, that's really all I can say. But, fuck Joe Biden. I'll talk to y'all later tonight. Hellraiser Judgment. Watch this movie if you can. It's really good. It's really fun. It's short, too. It's only like an hour and a half, and it gets going. Like, when the plot gets going, you're in. So I just want to do that video really quick. But other than that, talk to y'all later tonight. Peace.